Siloam Springs Board of Directors meeting, November 19th, 2024. Roll call.
Blair.
Here.
Long.
Here.
Wiles.
Here.
Hunt.
Here.
Bristler.
Here.
Allen.
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
Thank you. At this time, I will ask that you all please stand with me as Director Carroll leads us in prayer, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, tonight we give that moment to give thanks to you. You are the author of hope. You are the author of opportunity. You're the author of peace. We thank you for these things. We thank you for the wisdom that comes with it. And we have the opportunity to receive and to be and become who you called us to be. We lift up the city of Siloam Springs to you for the people within, that we may come together in unity and do the work and be the people that you called us to be. In this, Father, we give thanks. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I would like to ask anyone that has an electronic device to please silence that or turn it off so we don't have a disruption during our meeting. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Next is our public input time. At this time, I would ask if there is anyone here that would like to address this board on an item that is not on our regular agenda. There is no one? Oh, yes. Please come forward. State your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes.
Great, thank you.
Uh-huh.
My name is Becky Dunkelberger, and we reside at 14229 Lake Forest Heights Road. And the reason why I and some of my fellow Mothering Matters women are here is to bring up the parks and splash pad, or lack thereof. A couple of our families have relocated to Siloam here recently, and quite frankly, it's been an honor to be able to be a part of the Siloam community and to be able to raise our families here. However, there's just a piece that's missing, and that's having playgrounds that are inclusive to all physical abilities, and playgrounds that are safe, where we don't have to worry about our children running off into the street because there's traffic coming, and playgrounds that are engaging and challenging. So not only are they able to jump around and do things like that, but they're in an environment that they're able to grow and develop like they naturally should. And that could be with things with water, that could be with tree stumps that they could climb on and try to balance on, just a basic development for children. And then when we talk about the splash pad, it's to my understanding that what we believe to be the splash pad in Siloam isn't actually a splash pad. We've just kind of turned it into one, and it's more there for aesthetics, which makes a lot of sense because, quite frankly, it's not very safe for the children. My son loves to ride his bike, and he thinks it's awesome to get up on the pedestals, if you will, that are there and try to ride his bike off of them when the water's going, which is not safe. But it makes sense that that's not what it was intended for. We've just kind of used that as such. And so instead we go to Gentry and use their splash pad, or have to meet in other parts of Northwest Arkansas to enjoy other cities. And so we would just love the opportunity to proudly invite people out of town to come and meet us in the Siloam Parks at our splash pad in the future, and it be a place where we feel comfortable and confident with what we're inviting them to come and take part in Siloam. Anything else y'all would like to add? Yes.
Hi there, my name is Lauren Elge. I reside at 1916 West Jefferson Street, and I was actually born here in Siloam Springs, and I grew up with Mindy's daughter, Jordan. We were best friends growing up. in the entirety of my life, Bob Henry Park has always been there. It has been the same. And I am now 29 years old. And so I love this place more than anything. I went away for school, moved away for work, but I came back here to raise my family because I love it so much. I would love for us to move parks up on the agenda. I know there are important things that are necessary for life and godliness. Parks aren't necessary, but they are a blessing. And I would love to see something that is safe for our younger children. The current small park next to Bob Henry has a gate around it, but no closing gate. So I have 2-year-old twins, and they do not stay in the same space. So there's no enclosed space for us to go play. And I would love to see that be something that gets moved up in the agenda.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate that very much. And oh, yes, ma'am.
So I'm Zorana Tracy. I reside at 1116 East Jewel Street in Siloam, and I have 4 kiddos. And I feel like the splash pad is also like just a really big thing to me because I've noticed that not only have I noticed my children do this, but other children do this. The spouts just goes straight up. And I've noticed children standing on top of them and saying it tickles. And I think that that's extremely inappropriate, and it bothers me, and it bothers me to see that there's sometimes just, homeless people around the splash pad area and watching, and I just cannot help but feel like that's just wrong, that they could have ill thoughts as they're sitting there, And that's just something that's really been on my heart for the last couple years, and I actually 2 years ago noticed it, and then this last year I only let my kids go there once, and they like it, but I told them that they're not allowed to do that. I made sure to make it a point, but I've noticed other kids doing it too, and it's just something that we shouldn't have to worry about our kids getting that kind of a feeling at a splash pad. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that, ladies, very much. And I know our city administrator has taken note of what you all have suggested and would like to see in the future. So thank you for coming. Is there anyone else? If not, is there anyone that would like to address the board on an item that is on our consent agenda? And there is not. So with that, before we get into the consent agenda, Alan, I believe you had something you wanted to take care of?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, Board. My error board, I'm going to pull Ordinance J. After reading the board rules, I can't bring that such late notice. What that is, the compensation for the mayor and board. And just please keep in mind, today we got the ordinance done, so I was trying to get it quickly as possible. So we just need to try to get 3 readings done in the month of December because it has to be done this year. So I'm gonna pull that, but that was.
Thank you, Alan. So with that, we will move into our consent agenda. Item A, regular meeting minutes, November 6th, 2024. B, special called meeting minutes, October 29, 2024. C, annual chemical bids, Public Works Department, Water-Wastewater divisions, multiple vendors and cost. D, City of Siloam Springs, Arkansas Public Education Facilities Board, which is John Brown University. And Kameron Slater is up for reappointment, and we are recommending that. And item E, appointments for our Parks Advisory Board, Holly Wiles and Mike Henry, and those are both reappointments to that board. Directors, is there any item that you would like to pull for separate consideration? If there is not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call.
Long,
Yes.
Wiles,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Blair.
Yes. Consent agenda is approved. Next, we will move into contracts and approvals. Budget amendment, Fire Department, ALS 360 Stryker lease program for cardiac monitors, Cots, loaders and Lucas devices, $151,000. Chief Kendall? Yes.
I do want to say that during the pre-agenda, I asked us, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you sit down. I questioned the process in which we make out bids. I'll tell my age a little bit. We used to purchase a great deal of our vehicles and larger items through a thing that we all came known as the state bid. And although the state bid does do vehicles, or sometimes, not always, apparently this year they're not, General Motors is not doing it, but we still have that process, and our department heads certainly investigate that. And so, Dustin, I asked you a question, if you'll stand up, and I know you're prepared for it. I just wanted to state that I asked this mostly so the citizens will know, because we don't go to the state bid. We have a half a dozen things. The department heads do their due diligence. They're very active at it, and they're very concerned with the citizens' money as much as we are. So would you go ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. Dustin Kendall, Fire Chief. So I actually got reached out to Jay and had him pull up the legalese on it, if you will, and it sounds a lot better than the way I would describe it. But it is like state bid. It is just done through a cooperative, which Sourcewell is one of those cooperatives that we go through that does the competitive bidding for us. So, but according to state law, municipalities can purchase goods or services without competitive bidding if the governing body approves by resolution the use of competitive bidding or procurement procedures used by the United States government, another state, or an association of governments or governmental agencies, including those below the state level. This provision allows municipalities to use cooperative purchasing agreements like Sourcewell.
So if that's okay if I chime in. So this is some very specific things that we purchase. Stryker is a brand. It is the ambulance. We set our brands up for Stryker. So I just want the citizens to know that this is due diligence. A lot of thought has been put into this. And I question it not because I doubt our staff. I question it because it is different than when I was up here before. Scott and I just a few minutes ago had a conversation. So Scott, could you explain it a little bit better than I did on the police side versus the vehicles? So we're talking about very specific equipment is where the question comes from. However, state bid involves vehicles. So.
Yeah, so Chief Miller's Police Department. When we were talking earlier, so state bid, the state police puts out a bidding process for all types of vehicles and equipment throughout the state that they look at that everybody can purchase from based on that bidding process through the state. However, just like the police vehicles, GM and Ford in particular, because they're the two predominant police packaged vehicles besides Dodge, did not put out a bid for anybody on police packaged vehicles. But through like Sourcewell, they also did not provide a bid to Sourcewell. So then we go out and we do our process and we get our quotes and our lowest bid, and we just happen to get the lowest bid through our local dealership superior. But Sourcewell is that cooperative that we are a member of that does that bidding process for very specific and very large items such as dump trucks, tractors, fire trucks, ambulances that have very specific specs to meet our requirements.
So to chime in again, not necessarily for specific equipment, which is what we're voting on tonight, but vehicles. And I would like to state that also you went to a local dealer, and there's a lot of times we discuss up here, it'll come up, we ask local plumbers or whatever, we ask local people because we do tend to have a preference to go local if it's possible. I can't remember, David can chime in here, I think if it's 10% 5%, we want to go local. But anyway, I'm just trying to tell the public, this is how we do it, even though the words change.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, David?
Dustin, I just wanted to comment that this is coming from your STFE funds. And as you put out in your memo, it was originally budgeted for the dispatch console. I have usually said we don't always have to move something that we can't spend. This is a good example of how it works, most especially because I think the public will get a whole lot more out of COTS and CPR devices and cardiac monitors than they will dispatch consoles. So nothing against dispatch consoles, but things that actually save lives will be much needed and great to have. So thank you.
Thank you, David. Anyone else?
Can I speak to
Chief,
the
yes.
dispatch consoles? Part of the reason we were able to do this is because we partnered with CENTCOM, who just recently updated there. We were able to get, which I'm bringing to you guys next month, we were able to get those consoles purchased at a much lower price, saving us about $340,000.
Great. Thank you, Chief.
Anyone else? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this budget amendment? If not, directors, do I have a motion to approve the budget amendment for the fire department in the amount of $151,000?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Wiles,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Long.
Yes?
Budget amendment for the fire department is approved. Next is contract for digester 2 and 3 improvements, Public Works Department, Wastewater Division, Clean Infusion, $266,413. Kevin?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Kevin Moore, Public Works. Tonight for your approval is the contract with Clean Infusion in order to replace the digesters for 2 and 3 out at the wastewater treatment plant. This came in below budget, but you will notice that the low bid was disqualified since they did not include labor as part of their bid proposal. So we're recommending approval to Clean Infusion in the amount of $266,413, and staff is available for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Directors? Mark?
Madam Mayor. Kevin, do you think it's unfair that, when we talk about sewage, it's not as sexy as the police and fire, and we don't get to wave flags and do things that are fun? Sorry, I just had to say that.
Kevin, I remember when we had this problem with the breakdown in the digester, it was a serious issue last year. And I don't think the public always appreciates when our sewer plant has a problem. It's a problem for everybody, not just the plant, but everybody. So I'm glad to see we're getting this taken care of.
Anyone else? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the contract for the digester 2 and 3 improvements? There is not. Directors, do I have a motion to approve the contract for the Public Works Department in the amount of $266,413?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Long,
Yes?
Wiles.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Contract is awarded. Next is Ordinance 24-30, third reading, annexation of 0.21 acres, 2270 Don Hill Road. And Ben?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the board, Ben Rhodes, Senior Planner. This, again, is the third and final reading of the annexation out at Heritage Ranch for 0.21 acres. We have not received any additional questions or comments on this since second reading, and staff is still recommending approval and are available for any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Directors, comments or questions? There is none. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address Ordinance 24-30? There is not. Do I have a motion to place Ordinance 24-30 on its third and final reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Rissler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Blair, Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Wiles?
Yes.
Hunt?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Alan?
Ordinance number 24-30, an ordinance accepting the annexation of certain territory described at 2270 Don Hill Road to the city of Siloam Springs, Arkansas, and the assigning same to award.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion, we adopt ordinance 2430.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Roll call.
Alan?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Blair?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Wiles?
Yes.
Hunt?
Yes.
Rissler?
Yes.
Ordinance 24-30 is adopted. Next is ordinance 24-31, third reading, vacation of a right-of-way, 800 block of South Lincoln Street. Megan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Megan Thomas, Planner 1. As she stated, this is the third reading for a right-of-way vacation at the 800 block of South Lincoln Street. Staff has not received any comments or questions from the public since the last reading, and staff is still recommending approval. I'm available for any questions that you guys have. Thank you.
Directors, comments or questions? There are none. Anyone in the audience that would like to address ordinance 24-31? There is not. Do I have a motion to place ordinance 24-31 on its third and final reading, suspending the rules, reading by title only?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Carol?
Yes.
Blair?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Wiles?
Yes.
Hunt?
Yes.
Rissler?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Alan?
Ordinance number 24-31, an ordinance vacating and abandoning the right-of-way at 800 block of South Lincoln Street.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion, we adopt ordinance 2431.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Roll call.
Blair?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Wiles?
Yes.
Hunt?
Yes.
Rissler?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Ordinance 24-31 is adopted. Next, we will move to resolutions. Jay, are we still proceeding with this resolution?
Madam Mayor, are you inquiring regarding the settlement conference?
Yes, sir.
I have confirmed with the court docket that conference has been canceled by the judge. I think that order was yesterday or today. An interim appeal has been filed on behalf of the defendants in the case to take it back to the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals. So we could table that or simply withdraw it from consideration tonight.
Okay, thank you, Jay. So I would ask then, directors, that we withdraw this resolution at this time until we know the results of that appeal.
Madam Mayor, I request that we withdraw the resolution 5024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to withdraw. Roll call.
Long?
Yes.
Wiles?
Yes.
Hunt?
Yes.
Rissler?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Blair?
Yes.
Motion is approved. With that, we are coming up to our administrator's report. Alan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have one expenditure report per resolution 7-24, $146,448 for Hennard Utility Products. It's for Water Services Division. And then the chamber will be hosting the Christmas house deck. Will not, and again, board, and I'm looking for some possible guidance. The chamber reached out just a couple days ago. I found out today the chamber will not be hosting the Christmas house decorating contest this year. I don't know if the board would like to skip a year, or I can have staff look into donations to see if we can still have it. Again, I know it's near and dear to a lot of your hearts, but again, they have made the decision not to do it this year.
Did they
So-
say why?
Ma'am?
Did they say why?
They got a lot of negative last year over, I guess, some different things, but I would rather Arthur talk about that than me, but they just said they would rather not do it this year.
It was not financial. It was political.
I don't know, sir. I just know they caught some negative feedback is what I understand.
Sally thought her house should have won. I'm just making that up. I don't know.
Christmas decorating
I'm making that up. I have no clue.
That's where we go around and we
started it. How
judge
do you
people
feel?
that decorate their houses and everything. But again, board, staff came to me today, they're willing to jump in there like they always do, and we can try to make this happen. The problem is just trying to find prize money. We can't do that as a city, so I would have to see if I can find some sponsors. And we've already kind of started that ball just to see if we could find someone to be willing to do that. But again, I just wanted to see
Madam Mayor?
what the board thought.
Can I speak up real quick? Because that was my recommendation a few years ago, and it was, I believe, the year of COVID. And it was a time when, even more than normal, the citizens were not always happy with some of the things that the city was doing. And a lot of it, there was no control because it was all COVID regulations. And so in my mind, having the city sponsor that event was just a way to bring some sort of positive light. And so I really liked the fact that the city was the one that was running it. I think I can get some prize money. I know that the city can't put that money up, but I think I could get some prize money.
Thank you for that. Even if we can't, we can still bring the winners in and recognize them. And I think if we put our heads together, we can make it happen. Again, staff is willing. I just wanted to let you know, like I said, I found out today.
Yeah.
So if you guys want me to push forward with that, I will be happy to try to make that happen.
Lisa?
One of the things I did like that the staff did, that the chamber did, was they involved the directors that wanted to be involved in it. Mindy came up with the idea, and so she was very involved, and then there's a few other directors that were involved in the process. And
What I'm hearing, any other board members, what I'm hearing, I'll proceed and get staff to work on this. I mean, Megan volunteered today, and Segan starts
How
next
about
week.
a voice vote? Who's for it and who's against it?
Sure, absolutely. So you've asked for direction, whether the city would like to sponsor this.
Madam Mayor,
Not come up with the prize money. Yes, David?
I was just going to say, before the two positive comments came out, that if the chamber declined it because of some argumentative or political reasons or whatever, that maybe it's a good idea to skip 1 year to let people more or less value it rather than just assume it's always going to be. But if the board wants to do it, I'm all for it. I was just saying, if some people want to look a nice thing, look a gift horse in the mouth, a nice thing, maybe they need to not have it and see how much they actually love it, and, but.
So I will ask then for a voice vote from you all, whether it's positive. No, Alan?
And what I'll do, board, where I give you a better answer, I'll reach out to Arthur today. We text back and forth, but not about this today. And I'll try to get you a reason, email, or at least give you a
It
call
seems
and
to
let you
always
know.
have a lot of participants, doesn't it? I think there's a lot of homes that,
We had nearly as many participants in the years that we did it as a city staff as we did when the chamber did it. So, and Megan is so good at pushing things out. I think that she could get involvement. Lindsay was great at that as well, but I think Megan could do that.
I'm just saying, I don't think it dropped every year. I think it was a lot of participation, so.
Yeah.
And I want to get you the right reason, board, because I could be off. That's just what I was told today. Arthur could say something different. So let me get factual for you, but I know they do not want to do it this year.
You could even do something online and have the public vote and have a public favorite or something.
So right now, we just need to give Alan direction whether he wants to proceed with that. So I'm going to ask for that. Mindy, yes or no?
Yes.
Ken? Mindy, yes?
yes.
Yes.
Pete?
Yes.
Yes.
Clear unanimous vote to move forward and get that information to them, so.
Okay, thank you, board. We will try to get something going. The upcoming runoff election for directors' positions 5 and 6 have been scheduled for December 3rd. The early voting is available the November 26th through December 2nd. Light Up Siloam Springs is scheduled December 7th this year. Christmas caroling begins at 4 p.m. at the amphitheater, and downtown parade is at 5:30 at Twin Parks. So lighting ceremony will happen at 6 p.m. So we'll make sure we get that on social media and let everybody know. And then just a big thank you to Janae and Misty. They worked pretty hard yesterday getting our direct decoration got very, very old, and so they redecorated. They still have some work to do and in the lobby, and man, they really put it together. They let me move the deer over there, so I count that as helping, you know, so. And again, a big thank you to the board and everybody that participated in the State of the City. Megan, hats off. I just thought it was a really good event. There were some things that just due to time, I had to cut out a couple pages because, again, 2 hours is a long time. But in your packet, I put some stuff in there, some highlights. And during the Christmas meeting, these are some things that I will go over with staff and brag on them a little bit because they did a really good work on some stuff. And that's all I have, Mayor.
That's good. Thank you, sir. So with that, we'll move into the director's reports. Before I turn the floor over to the directors, I do have one thing that I received as a press release for Lights of the Ozarks. Light Night is November the 22nd. I know we have a lot of our citizens that like to go to the other cities and see the lights. So I just want to make sure that they are aware that Fayetteville will be having their Lights of the Ozarks beginning Friday, November the 22nd. So everyone is aware of that. With that, I will come to the directors for your comments. Mindy? And David, you will end, and I would ask that you not ask for an adjournment. Okay? Mindy?
Okay, I've been trying to save my voice, and I apologize for the way it sounds. Didn't have one at all yesterday, so this is better. Thank you to Alan and the staff that worked so hard to put on the State of the City event. It was a good event, well attended, and just a good variety of people there speaking on behalf of the city. And so thank you for all your work on that. Thank you to Misty and Janae for the wonderful decorations. He's right, you're not done. You can come to my house anytime.
We'd love to.
Let's see, and thank you to Mothering Matters for coming. You know, I'd always heard a lot of positive things about the splash pad in particular, and we do have some great parks, and we have a good Parks and Recreation Department, but it is time for some updating. And so I would love to see us be able to make a few updates. I've said it before, and David said it before, driving down Benton Street on the way here to meetings, it's full. That park, even at night, even after the meetings, that park is full. And it is generally more older people now because they're using the pickleball courts and the skate rink or the skating area. But anyway, I think it would be good to maybe look into some improvements to the parks. I know there was talk about the handicap accessible swing, so maybe we can kind of bring that back up again, because I think one of the things I heard was something that is available for everyone.
We've actually applied for a grant for that and we're denied.
Perfect.
So we'll continue to look for
Okay.
grants. And I have all the directors right now and managers updating their master plans to bring to the board. So we just got some updating to do, and I made some notes. And
Well,
I
we
think
have
I-
a great Parks and Rec staff that if anyone can make the improvements with the money that has to be budgeted for that, they can do that. So at the last meeting, a couple of concerns were brought up. One about having people on staff that have been here for 20 years and make less than $20 an hour. And I just appreciate Alan and Christina for providing the information that did confirm that we do not have anyone on staff who's been here 20 years that's making less than $20 an hour. And we do have some that aren't making a lot more than $20 an hour that have been here a while, but that tells me that they're here for more reasons than the money, which I think is a positive reflection of the city. I know I have a job that I'm never going to be rich at, but there are so many positive aspects of my job that make my salary, even though it may be lower, worth it. So I think, we want to pay our staff what they're worth, but I was happy that we don't have anyone that's under 20 at 20 years or more. And I do think that there's probably more to it for those that have been here a long time and maybe haven't gone that much further above that. I was also happy to get the information about the history of the raises. And just to confirm that really the last couple of years of larger than normal raises were specifically to get us up to being closer to in line with some of the salaries in some of the neighboring areas for their city staffs. Before that, generally, our raises were 2 to 3% COLA raises, with the exception of 2017 was a 4% merit. And the COLAs in 22 and 23 were 5%, but that 23 raise was part of getting us up to being more in line with other cities. And I want to end with a couple of questions. I got a text right before I came asking if I knew anything about the letters that went out about the lead, and I know that you said something to us, the director, so I wanted you to touch on that if you don't mind just a little bit. And then I also, from this citizen, she said, are you aware that Parks and Rec may be moving into a different building? And I wasn't really aware of that. But her concern was, some of the classes that meet in the current Parks and Rec building, like the yoga classes and the Friday night dance classes. And I know they have Zumba there sometimes when the community building is being used for something else. And it's not the biggest room, but it suits the size of the people that are there. And I would hate to lose a community room like that if that were to happen in a move. So just wanted to share that because that was a question that a citizen asked right before this meeting.
I'll ask the Park and Rec question. Park and Rec, as the board knows, I have moved, I sent a new organizational chart yesterday. I made a decision to move Park and Rec under community development. And a lot of those offices will be moved into the community development building, help give more guidance and just to help them as they grow and make sure things are being done. But the building still will be used for the Zumba classes and different things like that.
Which building?
With the building.
The current building.
The current building. Right now with the engineers and space, Kevin and his staff, or at least the engineers and surveyors were moving that building. Jason and some of his staff. Jason really hasn't had an office since he's been here. And I'm lacked in offices, so that's the decision I made. But the citizens should see no lack of or stoppage of anything they're used to having. You want to touch on the lead letters, please?
Absolutely. Kevin Moore, Public Works. So the lead letters went out, I believe it was November 8th. We had actually mailed those out. The deadline to receive those was November 15th. So that was part of a national emphasis on getting lead out of water service systems. So over the next couple years, we'll actually be physically inspecting the lines, narrowing down that list, and letting people know if they've been removed from the list or if they are actually supposed to be on that list and will need a replacement. And then in 2027, we'll start a 10-year replacement program to actually replace the lines, the service lines up to the houses.
And I think one thing that we got a little press on, just the board knows, I think we tried to get ahead of that curve a little bit. We actually got ours in a little bit early. I just wanted to get ahead of it. So we actually sent our letters probably a week or so before the deadline.
Well, and those that got it, it was those who were in homes that had been built before a certain time, right?
That's
Okay.
correct. So the lead ban in Arkansas was passed in 1989.
Okay.
So anything 1988 or older may have lead in their lines. They've been marked as unknown until we can verify.
Some of the letters that I know of are actually houses that were built in the late early 2000s also.
Oh, so some of them got the letter as well?
There were some that were improperly on the list, so we'll be able to remove those quickly.
I know my mother got a letter, and she built her house in '88, but I think the letter had a phone number that they could call for more information, right? Which is what I recommended that she do.
Yes, we set up an email account, leadservice@siloamsprings.com, that anybody can contact, and then we can provide materials on how to self-identify or to call staff out to help try to identify those lines.
Perfect, okay.
Thank you.
And just one more thing, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Ken?
Just real quick, I was out of town last week. Almost said unfortunately I couldn't make the meeting, but I was having too good a time, so I honestly didn't think much about it. But upon my return, I'd heard a lot of good, positive comments. So I just want to thank Alan for putting that together and staff on all their hard work and just making or presenting a good, positive image for the city. And I know we all appreciate that. Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Betsy? Oh, Alan?
I'm sorry, Director. I make a correction. I crossed out the 27th, so I don't remember what I said, but the early voting is the 26th. Janae reminded me my note was wrong. I made a cross out, and I might have still read it that way, so I apologize.
You said it right.
Did I say, okay, November 26th through December 2nd. And Chris also sent me a text. He's watching. He's got some with children tonight. Chris said he'd be happy to give any of the directors a tour of where Park and Rec will be and what his plans are, so, sorry.
Betsy?
And back to the lid for a second. So are we talking about the water pipes for lead?
Yes, that's correct. The water service lines and then plumbing within the homes.
Oh, so if a home was on city water until 15, or well water until 15 years ago, would they still need to be checked?
If the plumbing was prior to 1988, they would still need to be checked. I'm not certain if they would be on our list or not, since that was specific to customers served by our water system.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And please keep in mind, this is nationwide, because I got some calls about just Siloam. This, as far as I know, Kevin, right, this is a nationwide thing.
And the only other thing is, it's the holidays coming up, and we've got some great services like the Manna Center and Genesis House. So you might consider donating and helping them, because they help a lot of people with Thanksgiving and Christmas besides day in and day out. And I'm sure this time of year they could use all the support they can get. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Lisa?
I just want to say I got a lot of compliments on the state of the city. Thank you for staff for putting that together. We received a lot of information, and the next morning, I went to my bank, I went to a couple different places, and everybody kept talking about how wonderful it was, but they wished they could have walked away with a document in their hand. There was so much information fed to them. They're like, oh, I would have loved to have been able to take a document with me that stated some of that stuff that was being said. And so that's the only, and that's not even a negative. That was you guys did a great job. You had so much information. I would like to carry it out of there. So thank you for stuff.
Miss Lisa, and I don't remember if I do, but the QR code, they can go to QR code and they can actually print, so I'll make sure we put that out again, that they can go on actually at the QR code. And when I gave you guys kind of a yearbook on the state of the city in front of you, they'll be able to get that same book
Okay.
with the QR code. They just got to get there and take a picture, and they can download it or look at it.
Oh, that's cool. And it has all this other information that you have listed here, just highlights of the 14 months. Okay.
I don't know if all that's in there, but a lot of that is in that book. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, that's the only thing that I had people say is, oh, I wish I could have walked out with something, so I could have told my coworkers, this is what they said, and there was so much information, but they loved it. I mean, all kinds of people were giving compliments, and staff did a great job working on that. And the last thing I have is I hope everybody has a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. And I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, too. I almost forgot that. It's almost here. Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do want to say thank you for the ladies that came out with Mother Matters. I think there were a couple of husbands there, too, so thank you them as well. It's good to hear from the public on some thoughts and ways that we can help improve. One of the things that Christina brought up at our last meeting was that we may talk about some things, but we need to do something, give the staff something to do and not just something to talk about. And I actually went to see Christina, and I don't know if she thought I was going to be upset with her or not, but I said, thank you for that slap in the face. I needed it. And one of the things I'd like to do tonight is that we're going to be facing some things to be done concerning utilities, as far as the rates are going to need to go up since we're being charged more. And that normally just brings, everything's just going up. And that can be some problems. But I had someone give me a very good idea. I wish I could say this is mine only, but concerning utilities, and I'm looking at utilities here on that commission, if we could possibly look at, as a city, being able to have some staff that can go into people's homes and help them find ways to reduce their utilities, whether that's maybe something where they can, more insulation, the windows need to be covered, just some simple things. I believe the gas company already does some things with that, and I applaud them for that. But I don't think the city has that at this time, and we've had several homes go up that don't have gas in them. So I'd like to see if we as a city can put something together, and it's going to cost money to do that. If we don't have the personnel, we'll have to hire them. But to be able to do that for some people who maybe have those homes that are 1989 and previous, or 1978 and previous, what have you, to where we can help them. Even though the price is going up, maybe we can help reduce some things. And I'm saying this not just to bring it up, that sounds good or what have you, but what can we as a board do to put this into motion? If not tonight, if we could put something together where we can give that to staff, where staff can actually work with that and help our community. And Madam Mayor, I guess I'm looking to you to see if this is something that I'd like to propose some type of a motion, if need be, to where we can not just talk about it and maybe even have a consensus, but we still haven't given to the staff some direction on how they can go.
So if I understand you correctly, you would like to make a motion for the administrator and staff to look into ways that the city can help our citizens?
Yes, and also the utility commission.
Utility commission.
If they can be involved with that, and not looking to make more or just make a big jumble, but being able to put something there to where people can actually see a benefit from it.
Mayor, I think.
Yes.
I think you could just direct the administrator to do that.
Or possibly bring us back something by the next meeting, or put it on the agenda or something to that effect.
Yeah, that's,
Okay, do we as a board need to do
I
that,
think-
or I don't, because if I tell Alan, that's just me, but
no, I think that this board, rather like we did with the other item, we can just ask for a consensus and directing him to get something put together to bring to us at the next board meeting. So
I can bring you something back, and then the board can make a decision then. I'm just
Right.
getting direction to kind of get you some information.
Okay. So I'm asking then, are we in favor of him doing that before he puts all that time and effort in?
Madam Mayor.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mindy.
Well, yes, I'm in favor of that. But I was also reminded, is this my imagination, since my brain has been mush last week? Or did we get something about an app that we're getting ready to introduce to?
Only if you have the new AMI meters.
Okay,
So-
but that will help
And
people
those should be
determine
in
their
by the end of the
usage?
year, yeah.
Okay.
And so you'll be able to go in there, but it won't help you, like, what he's talking about where they come into your home. But I do have to say, Black Hills just did a 50% increase. And they're also looking into next year doing another increase.
It's been approved.
Yeah,
been
yeah,
approved by
this
public
year's been
service.
approved at 50%. 50% increase. That's having to pay for these things that they're doing, and I just want people aware of that, because nothing's free, and they use grant money, but they still did a 50% increase.
The
And that-
increase you're talking about, I think it's 2.5%. With 4%, we're feeling a 2.5 this year, and that's an increase over the next 4 to 5 years.
That's for electric, yeah. But
So
what the
I-
gas company does,
No, and I understand that the app doesn't really do what Reed is saying, but to me, it's sort of another way of helping customers. So here's a tool you can use for just identifying how much usage you have, and then if we could roll out some sort of, and then this is what we can do to help you if you're seeing that you're using too much, sort of.
So I have a yes from you, Ken, Betsy, Lisa,
as long as we show the cost.
as long as we show the cost. So yes, unanimously, the board would like to direct you to do that, Alan, so if you'll put that together. Anything else, Reed?
I will do my very best next meeting, just, we
Sure.
have a very, you sat in policy
do.
group today.
We have a long
very,
agenda.
very full schedule. So I will do everything I can to try to get that to you.
When I spoke about Christina, she was very kind about it. Nothing against her at all. I appreciate what she said to me about how we need to be more direct in what we're requesting. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, sir. Mark?
Sometimes I tell my age, but historically, the city used to buy a turkey or a ham for its employees at Christmas and usually distributed those certificates at the annual meeting. We used to call it Christmas party. And they would take their little certificate and go to IGA and get their turkey or ham. And then later, we started giving them, we started calling it a Christmas bonus, but it was not a Griswold Christmas bonus. It was really just kind of try to help with Thanksgiving and Christmas expenses for a meal. I did not see that in the budget, and I would like to place that on the agenda next meeting to discuss. I don't want to call it a Christmas bonus because that's not really the way I see it.
It's in the budget, sir.
It is, so we already.
We started that last year. It just goes into salaries. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it was stopped years ago, and I brought it back last year. It's
Fantastic.
something very well perceived, and I already got calls today, because during Christmas meeting, we actually gave it to them, and this year it'll be a direct deposit. It's not a lot. I think it's like $250. I'll have to get you an exact number.
But fantastic. No, I don't need it. If that's, I just did not see it in the budget. Thank you. That's all I have.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mark. David?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, happy Thanksgiving, everyone that has snuck up on all of us, I believe. Alan and staff, good job on the state of the city. This is a fantastic document. It really, really, and I would like to see us print more of these just for anyone who actually comes up. We're not going to mail them out, but if anyone were to come up and say, can I have one? I think this says an awful lot about what is accomplished. And who was it said, I wish I could have got a document when I left the meeting. Alan, this thing you put on our desk, the highlights of the past 14 months, it's just typed pages, but this would have been good to hand out. I mean, this really says it all.
Yes, sir.
Very
That was a part of my-
succinctly, but it's also detailed on what has gotten done in the last 14 months. And so,
That was a part of my speech. I just pulled out.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's very detailed on what has been accomplished in a very relatively short time. Then I'm not going to argue, we do have some employees that are under $20 an hour that have been here a long time, 20 years, but they're fired and they are treated differently. So that was a point. It's not a matter of we don't have anyone, we do, but they are fired and their salary is different. But I want to make a point that I believe salary has to be based on experience and education. It cannot be just a flat number decided by a salary survey company that only really researched the corridor cities, and in fact did not even reach out to Bella Vista until I asked them to here in the meeting. Arkansas Municipal League has comparable sized cities that this company could have researched. Bella Vista is one, or Van Buren's one of them. They did not. They were very limited in the cities that they talked to. And so my argument is you cannot just plug some number in for everybody and say, yeah, no matter who you are, this is what the pay is worth. It's got to be different for each person based upon experience and education. Most certainly experience. That's always more important to me. What was I going to say? In terms of what Reed brought up on utilities, our board has not discouraged or prevented any staff from bringing a rate increase suggestion in the last 3 years at all. There's been no, we don't want that. There's been none. It's been completely up to staff and the utility commission. And we did do one for solid waste for business. So there's been nobody that said we can't do one. We have waited, and there's not been one presented. So we are going to be required because of the supplier. But as Mark has brought up before, that's the only way it used to be, for electric at least, was when the supplier sent through an increase, then we did the same thing. So that was my only point that I wanted to make. And that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, David. Alan?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things I just remembered as you guys were talking. If, for the state of the city, if you go to this city's YouTube page, the video is actually on there, so people will be able to go to the YouTube and actually see the meeting. And then Arthur and I were also talking today. I know everybody loved the pools of Siloam last year. We are not sure we're going to be able to use that location. One of the houses is up for sale. So again, their brother, or Mr. Tim, and everybody's trying to work through that. So I'm working with staff to see if we can find a second location. We're thinking about the amphitheater with that area. And they said once we get that going, it'll be through December 13th through December 23rd, one showing every night at 6:30. So if we can't do it there, we will have a second location, but we're working together, and hopefully we'll get some things finalized tomorrow.
Boy, I hope they can do it on the creek. That's where it's always been, and it never used to be an issue years ago, even with people owning the hillside.
Yeah, I think is what they're telling me. I think I can share this, that one of the main locations,
Yeah.
the man has moved back to California and
Yeah.
selling that property, so I don't know
Yeah.
if we can use it.
It's up in the air, I understand, yeah. But I'm just saying, I'm crossing my fingers that we can have it there, because it makes a big difference to have it right alongside the creek there.
That it, Alan? Is that it? Okay, thank you. So then, directors, I would ask for a motion.
I will make a motion that we go into executive session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Long,
Yes?
Wiles,
Yes.
Hunt, Bristler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Motion is approved. We will adjourn to executive session. Once we have completed, we will come back. We will reconvene and announce any decisions that have been made, if any are made. Thank you. We'll call back to order this Board of Directors meeting for November the 19th. We have been in an executive session, and at this time, there was no decisions made, so we will not be asking for a motion or a vote. We are going to call a special called meeting for November the 21st at 6 o'clock. That will be this Thursday. So directors, is there any other comments that you have at this time?
Move adjourned. Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you.